Hi guys, thanks for tuning in, and today we're going to be doing another review, this time on the STX Surgeon RX2. And this is what the stick looks like, in case you forgot from my last video of unboxing about a month or two ago. Pretty good looking stick, I say. Very simple. I like the color scheme of it. I want to start off by saying a big thank you to our friends over at STX for helping me out, letting me pick a nice group of about 7 or 8 guys and just getting this stick in their hands throughout the country and in Canada, and letting them put it to use, and their reviews will be coming out soon. I know a couple of guys are very happy and one other guy who's kind of meh about it, but hey, you know what? That's the purpose of a review. You have one guy who loves it, another guy who doesn't, and they come together and give you reasoning as to why they didn't like it, and you make your choice, and at the end of the day, buyer's choice, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this stick is uncut. I usually, when it comes to STX sticks, sometimes I have to extend them, but we'll touch up on that, why I couldn't put an extension on this one. It still wasn't a big deal. I was still very happy with it, so it actually did not turn into a bad issue. The grip, it's got a little bit of grip. There's like a snake grip type of thing, kind of from the old Reebok shafts. If you guys remember those, the original 7Ks, it kind of reminds me of that. This isn't as abrasive as the snake skin that Reebok used, which tore up your palms. This is actually pretty nice, very subtle, and you can hear it, so it's not going to make too big of an issue. The grip, other than that, it's a matte finish, or matte, whatever you want to call it. So there's not really any grip. It's nice and smooth. Like a papery type of touch, if you had to describe it some way, like when you touch paper, that's what it feels like. So it's kind of nice. I enjoyed it, and I felt that this paired up with the, I'm just going to call it snake grip. I mean, there's no other way to call it. I'm just going to call it snake skin, and it just paired up very well. Now, I've been using this stick since I got it a couple months back, say about June. And around that time I was injured, so I took about 4 or 5 weeks off, and then I came right back with a fury and just started tearing this one up along with the other VIP stick that I have. We'll leave that one unnamed because, actually no, let's name it off. This stick was being paired up with my Warrior QRL, and the review on that one will be coming out soon. But first we're doing this one. This, first one, first serve. This one came in. So as far as the way that the stick looks, I really like it. It's very clean, very uniform. It's got the nice grayish, dark gray blending into the white, and then blending over into the dark gray again. It's got a nice mixture of it. It doesn't, kind of like the old Surgeon stick, where it was white with a little bit of black, and then it was white-ish again. So it's kind of like a nice trade-off. Now, speaking of a trade-off in differences, there are some very big differences that come over from the original Surgeon, which, as you guys could tell, I really love, to the Surgeon RX, which, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't that big of a fan. It's a good performing stick. A couple of other friends who tried it, they thought it was better than the sticks they were rolling with, but as far as I was concerned, the original Surgeon, top notch. Surgeon RX, negatory. Surgeon RX2 totally went back in a different direction, back to the direction that the original Surgeon was going with, and made some very different improvements between 1, 2, and technically 3, but number 2. First thing I want to touch up on is the blade. Now, they did switch over in a couple of different ways on the blade. The original blade was kind of flexible a little bit, and it had some nice give to it, but it never took away from your shot. It gave you a nice, good pop. You still had good control, but the blade wasn't as stiff as I normally liked it, which actually it turns out I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, when we switched over to the Surgeon RX, the blade was ridiculously stiff. The best way that I can compare it to is a big, clunky, stiff piece of plastic that had no feel to it. Like a Reebok Pro Stock. Yeah, pretty much. And when they did the RX2, the blade went a little bit nicer towards the softer feel, but they kept a little bit of the stiffness, so it could give you a little bit more control, but you could feel the puck, you could feel the pop with it again, you could feel the control that made the original Surgeon just sing. So they obviously listened to the feedback between stick 1, stick 2, and they implemented it on RX2, stick version 3. So for the curve, of course, I went with the X92 curve. That's kind of the Sackett clone. It's the one that I've been using on almost every stick that I use all the time. So, you know, it's my curve. It's my go-to. With Sherwood, I used the Stashny. With Warrior, I used their version copy of it, and now Surgeon, they have the X92 version of it. This one, of course, X92, and it came at 100 flex, but don't let it fool you. Just like the original Surgeon, the 100 flex, it feels a lot whippier than that, just with the way that it responds. It's really light. It's very well balanced. It's not the lightest stick in the market, but the balance makes it feel a whole lot better. So if we're looking at the blade and the curve, I'm very happy with that. The way the shots, the way the puck just felt all over the blade, it gave me like a sense of control where no matter what was going on, I felt that I could still settle the puck and be able to tell without having to look down consistently like I did with the original RX, and you know, look down and try to find it because all I heard was clang, 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 and then figure out where my shot was going to be. With this one, I can tell and I can shoot more naturally, which makes me very happy. Do I like the blade? Absolutely. I would give this one 2 thumbs up because it just completely works. In this case, 10 for 10 for the blade. The durability, I mean, the only thing you can see is that little divot. I don't really know how that developed. It could have been an air pocket, but it's not too bad. And then of course we have some nice deep scuffs right there. It's not too bad. It, you know, has not hindered any performance. It hasn't made the blade collapse at the heel, so it's perfectly fine. And so then we move on to the next part. With stick handling, when it came to stick handling, you know, wherever you put your hand, you know, it's gonna be your natural position. I know people always tell everyone, put your hand lower if you're shooting, put your hand higher if you're stick handling, but everybody skates differently. Some guys crouch down more than others. Some guys stand up more than others, kind of like I do. So wherever you're going to be stick handling, that's really going to be kind of your niche, and you're gonna find that position, and then you're just gonna work off of that and eventually start shooting off of it. Stick handling for me with this blade felt much more natural than the previous version. That's kind of what I'm going to compare it to because I still don't know what happened to that stick, but somewhere, somebody has it. It kind of disappeared on me, I'm not going to lie. And, but this is a very much bigger improvement. The blade is softer in a sense where I can stick handle and it feels like I could take passes, I can throw passes and have a good flexibility from the shaft, but I also have good control from the blade. It doesn't have any back flex, so I'm very happy with it. And that's what leads over to shooting. Shooting with this stick, and that's where we'll stop right there. In case you haven't been made aware or looked on the website, there is something peculiar about this shaft. And the reason why it's so peculiar is the bottom half of the shaft, it's not circular because there's edges. It's more like a lacrosse shaft. And of course, as you know, STX. They are also known for making lacrosse sticks. So it feels like they kind of borrowed some of the technology there from their lacrosse sticks and ended up implementing it into these. Now that gave a little bit more control, it gave more flexibility, and it gave a better load for a shot. You actually have a harder shot, you have a more accurate shot, but you also don't feel like the stick breaks down a lot easier. Just because this creates a sense of flexibility, whereas just a typical, squarish shaft is going to break down a lot faster because the walls are being put to so much stress that it eventually just becomes absolutely whippy. I haven't lost any whippiness on this stick. It hasn't become more whippy. It hasn't broken down as much as I thought it would have been. It's just been absolutely consistent. And as you can see at the very top of the shaft, where your palm kind of goes down to at the grip, it is a standard shaft. It's soft C-shaped walls, very rounded a little bit. But then the bottom, that's where it just kind of sings. Now, how does it affect my shooting? That's probably what you're asking me. It gives me more of the ability to be able to load the shot. Whenever I take a wrist shot, I kind of pull it back, and then I just start applying pressure on the shaft while moving it forward, which creates the stick to bend, creates that whippy motion, and then you can just slingshot the puck. I thought this would have been ridiculously stiff like the original RX. It absolutely was not. In fact, what it actually did was it made the stick a whole lot whippier, especially for wrist shots, and it just totally flew off. Really just kind of took off on the shot, and I was able to just whip it down from one side of the ice to the other if I was dumping the puck, dump and change. That's the prototypical beer leaguer. Or if you're taking a good hard slap shot or a one-timer, it still provided a little bit of control. It didn't create a wild shot, and it was stiff enough, whippy but stiff enough, to not make it feel like you're just shooting with a little pea shooter. I was very happy with the performance on this. Now, with slap shots, I actually wasn't too happy with it. It felt like it was lacking something, like it was lacking a little bit of power. Well, I could get a good snapshot, one-timer off. I could get a good wrist shot off of this stick, but when it came to a slap shot, there's literally about 3 or 4 times where I ended up falling on the ice because it just felt, like sometimes I was putting too much force into it and it was making it too whippy. I don't know, but I wasn't too excited when I had to do a slap shot. So anytime I played defense, I did not use this stick. When I played forward, I switched to this stick. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being peculiar or picky, but this stick for wrist shots, it's pretty good. This stick for snap shots, it's pretty good. This stick for slap shots, I'm gonna give that a thumb down. I don't know. Maybe if you tried it and you have better experience with this, tell me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm not gonna post a shooting video, so please don't ask. Again. So durability, I'm gonna give this one a better durability than probably my Sherwood, my EK. This one, none of the guys who have used it have had any durability issues. And I know a couple of those guys, they're very awful to their sticks. They're a little bit more than, worse than me. I try not to tape the entire blade. Should do about just this much. Sometimes I'll do just this, just to kind of see how much damage I could do to the toe. All we see is that divot. So as far as durability, I'll give that a 10 out of 10. I feel that the durability has been very good for this stick. Hasn't been too bad. So we're gonna take this moment to kind of pause, and we're gonna talk about the shooting. As far as the shooting, because the wrist shots I said were good. The snapshots I said were good, but the slap shots were not. I'm gonna give it about a 7 out of 10, just because of the performance on the shooting. I tend to use my slap shot a lot more now, and this stick I feel failed me, so I will give it about a 6. Yeah, I'll be fair, I'll give it a 6 out of 10, not a 7, because I am happy with 2 other qualities, but they're not going to rescue when I have to play defense and switch sticks entirely. For the price point of this stick, what it's going for in the market, what it's going for at Pure and Total, and actually Pure bought Total, or one of the other way around. Hockey Monkey, there you go, we'll just use Hockey Monkey, or Ice Warehouse. For the price that it's going there, it's going to be one of the higher performing sticks. Would I recommend it? I mean, if you are a guy who relies mostly on his wrist and his snapshot, I would recommend this stick. The way that the shaft is constructed, all the way down, all the way to about right here, then it becomes the taper or standard shaft, you know, the standard square, and the taper just kind of tapers off and it carries on over. It's a very good performance stick for passing, for shooting, as far as wrist shots and snapshots. But for slap shots, if you're kind of a defenseman who uses that a lot, I don't think you'll like it. But it's a very durable stick, so if you're a defenseman who kind of plays a little bit more aggressive, this stick could work to your advantage as well. I mean, it's lasted me a few months, and I've been trying to beat the crap out of it. The same thing with my other stick, and this one has held up very nicely. It's really going to come down to the buyer's choice. I know it's hard for a lot of guys to go to a store and be able to try it out or even put it in their hands. I'm going to be allowing someone else to start using this stick once this video posts, because he's been very curious about it, so he gets to try it. If you can get it at a good price, I absolutely suggest it. This brought back my love feeling for the Surgeon line that the original Surgeon gave me, so I will definitely recommend it for that. And if you remember on the original Surgeon, I loved the entire performance of the stick, but I also had slap shot issues. That goes to show that STX, that's why they have 2 lines. They have the Stallion and the Surgeon. The Surgeon is more for the wrist and snapshot kind of guy, and the Stallion is for the power guy who's going to, you know, break off a couple of slap shots and let them rip. So if you're more on the, as a forward type of shooting, a quick shot, this is a stick to go with. This stick I feel eliminates a couple of other different higher performance ones and gives you the quality that lasts you a while. So overall, with the 6 out of 10 on the shooting, the 10 out of 10 on, on the shaft feel, and the performance as far as passing and the blade, how much I love the blade, I'll try to be fair. I'll give this stick about an 8.5 out of 10, because slap shots aren't going to sing for everyone. They're not that much of a song for me, but everything else about it I love. Yeah, I do like this stick, and I would recommend it. So 8.5 out of 10, I feel that that's going to be a little bit more fair. And if you have any questions, don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. The more you subscribe, the more I'll tell you how much I love you. Don't forget to share it with your loved ones. Tell your mom, tell your sister over there across the room, tell your wife, tell your kids somewhere in that part of the house, and don't forget to smell the flowers. Thanks for watching. This has been the review for the STX Surgeon RX2. Have a good one.